Hello and welcome to Jijo Speaks. And in this passage, we're going to look at a reading comprehension passage from CAT 2019 slot 1. The passage is on folk song. Now, I had created another video on reading comprehension strategy where I used another passage from CAT 2019 slot 1, which is on topophilia. And I used the passage to help you understand how to look at reading comprehension. And I got this request that, so why don't you also do this particular passage on folk song? And I know why, because this passage is slightly tougher than the other passage. Okay, let's have a go, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start, I want to give a perspective on how do you, the whole reading comprehension as a passage, in terms of when we say that this was an easy passage, this was a difficult passage, this was a easy question or difficult question. It's not so simple, because what we have with us is a passage, and what we also have are questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each of these question also has these options A, B, C, D, four options given to the question number one. Each of the question also has these options that is given to us. So how do I in general say that the passage is difficult or easy? Just because this passage is hard doesn't mean that the questions are going to be hard, or just because the passage is going to be easy to read doesn't mean that the question also going to be easy. No, right? So we have to look at from this angles, and you have a passage that is given to you. Now, the passage may be a normal passage to read. You could probably call it easy. I use the word normal. Is that something that I understand pretty easily, not difficult passage to read? But then you also have a passage which are very hard to read. Probably the sentence structure is very dense, or maybe the topic itself is something that I don't understand at all, or maybe there are a lot of concept that is thrown onto me, and I'm trying to keep track of what all the concept is. Maybe author has used a lot of examples, a lot of people's names, and a lot of concepts. I'm trying to, I can't just make sense of what is going on in the passage. You might have a situation like that as well. And then while that is the case, then you also have questions. You also have questions. Now the questions can be easy and the questions can be hard. When I say question to be easy or hard, uh, you have to understand one thing. Just because the question says which of the following can be inferred from the passage, just because the question is an inference based question, so to speak, that in itself does not make it hard. Or if the question is a tone question, that itself does not make it hard. Right. So the what makes a question hard is actually not the way in which the question is framed, but in fact how the options are framed. And this is something that you must understand. So whatever be the question, your problem eventually is going to be with the options. And there are these questions. There are four options, and sorry, in many cases what you see is that there are questions where automatically you read answer choice number B, and the answer choice is telling me pick me, pick me, pick me, please. It's so obvious that's the answer. That happens quite a lot of time. You say that's easy to look at. Or maybe there are other situations where you actually see that some of these answer choices are so blatantly incorrect. So it's so obvious that E cannot be the answer, obvious that C cannot be the answer, obvious that D cannot be the answer. Then you can, at least by the process of elimination, go and pick answer choice number B. So those are the easy ones to look at. But there are these questions where you have these four answer choices A, B, C, D that is given to us. ABCD given to us, and then the question options are framed in such a manner that option number A and B are framed in such a manner that both are very appealing and both seems to be correct. We just seem not able to figure out what is in fact correct. Mind you, if there is a wrong answer choices, this answer choice is wrong, but which is that is not based on the information that is given in the passage. It may be a twisted form of the information, or something that the author never intended or implied, or anyway told us during in the particular passage, but still wrong. So, and then that is when we start thinking there are answer choices which are close and stuff. There are actually no such thing as close answer choices. There are right or wrongs, and the question setter can frame the answer choice in such a manner that to ensure that the traps are set in the answer choice that we fall into, making it very hard. And usually, what happens is that if you think like a question setter, if you think from the perspective of the question setter, imagine a question that has to create four answer choices, out of which one is correct. Let's say that B is the right answer choice, and the question setter created B as the right answer choice. Now, question setter has to create wrong answer choices A, C, and D, and the question setter is now thinking, how do I create wrong answer choice, which I'm going to trap that guy to fall. I don't want to make it very obvious. So while creating the wrong answer choice, question set is going to think a lot, maybe pick up words from the passage itself, twist it around, or make it a little broad, or make it narrow, or add extra piece of words like most or best, something like that. Gets created, and maybe create the answer choice. Let's say it's an awesome wrong answer choice in the sense that that answer choice is pretty appealing but definitely wrong, and it's very difficult for the question setter to keep on creating uh, three awesome answer choices. That is very unlikely. Usually, the one awesome choices and couple of them are pretty easy to pick. These are not so difficult to pick. So that is why we usually end up having confused with two answer choices. The reason why I end up having confused, end up being confused, I'm having confused, end up being confused two answer choice has got nothing to do with your ability. Right. And you see that, oh, sir, I can actually eliminate two answer choices. No, no, no. Those answer choices were supposed to be eliminated. So easy to eliminate. You end up getting confused with two answer choices because largely because the question setter cannot create three awesome incorrect answer choices, or cannot. I will not say uh, very difficult to create those many wrong answer choices. That's an issue. But then you have question setters which can actually create pretty difficult answer choices for you. So having said that, so therefore you have this four things. So you have a case where you have number one where the passage is easy to read and the questions also easy, or the particular question is pretty easy. That's awesome. And way there where which is number four, which is the passage itself is hard and the options are also hard. And then you're saying this is a nightmare situation. I think that we can still manage some of these two cases, which is these cases here, which is let's say number two and number three scenarios, where number two scenario passage is normal, but the questions are hard because the passage is normal. Probably I would have understood the passage really well. So even the options are very hard. It's easy for me to eliminate. Uh, or in this case, even though the passage was hard, the questions were pretty easy, but my about 60-70% understanding of the passage was good enough to eliminate answer choices because the answer choices was pretty easy to eliminate or to select which way you look at it. So those two can be there. This is a big problem. And this particular passage, ladies and gentlemen, is actually comes under this particular category. So this passage that we are doing now, you see the passage to be a little hard to read, and the questions also is hard to handle. And I also believe that the question setter, in at least in one question, did not do a good job in creating the answer choice. We'll find those things out, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the lesson, we will learn a few things. One, what to do, and also what not to do. When can we say that I'm going to lose this battle? I want to win the war. I want to do 24 battles with reading comprehension. 24 questions means 24 battles. And some of the battles I'm willing to lose. So I will not feel bad about it because eventually I want to win the war. So let's have a look at this passage, ladies and gentlemen. The passage was taken from this article in Guardian, which is an article I think was written back in July 2010, old article about folk song. And what the passage, the article had about 1,481 words, exactly 1,481 words. I checked that, and the passage in the paper is 503 words. So they extracted this into this. So when you look at the question setter, how the question setter extracts the passage, one way to look at it, let's say this passage has got, let me pick another color. Okay, passage has got paragraph number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say there are six paragraphs. 1,500 odd words, six paragraphs. So let's say these two paragraph 500 words, this is 500 words, these two paragraph 500 words, each paragraph about 250 words. So I'm just giving an example. One way to extract is, let me just ensure that I just pick up two paragraph from there, maybe from the middle, maybe in the beginning, and then create and then give that as a passage, and then ask question based on that. That is question number one, and so on and so forth. That is one way to do it. There's also another way to do it, which actually let me actually give the entire paragraph but edit out certain part of the paragraph. And that's what they did, and that's what usually what cat does as well. So you actually look at this passage here, and you see these dots, you see this dot, those are edited out portion. So which means the paragraph started, the passage started from the beginning of the article, picks up certain part of the article, deleted certain part, and then gave you some other part, deleted certain part and gave you some part, deleted certain part and gave you some part, deleted certain part and gave you something, and this still continues. So there are some paragraphs that is going to happen later. So you would then hope that the question setter has deleted uh, something that is not really important, So this is not how I would have normally read the article, but the article will have all the context because I can read the entire 1,481 words. Here I'm just reading 503 words, and it is the question setter who decided which portion to delete and which portion to keep in this particular passage. So there could be a possibility where this thing can jump from here to there. The ideas can jump from here to there because something got deleted. We'll keep that in mind. But I'm just hoping that the question setter did not confuse us. So let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen, from each of this paragraph. Let's read one by one. What I'm going to do, like usual, is to have a look at this passage and also tell you what is going through my mind. Okay, let's have a read. And I keep noting the stuff on the right hand side. My notes. Okay, let's. What color should I pick? Yellow. Let's take a look. Free of the taint of manufacture. That phrase in particular is heavily loaded with the ideology of what the Victorian socialist William Morris called the anti-scrape or an anti-capitalist conservationism. Conservationism, not conservatism, that solace itself with the vision of a pre-industrial golden age. The first sentence itself was almost going, "What is this? What is this sentence?" Okay, no, okay, so this like a reasonable start that the author is saying. In my mind, a few things comes to my mind. One is saying that the phrase in particular is heavily loaded, so heavily loaded with a certain ideology. Heavily loaded tends to give me a negative connotation, so I'm just keeping that. Okay, it's talking about a phrase, and already I can see there's a phrase there, there's a Victorian socialist there, there is anti-capitalist as an idea, anti-conservationism as an idea, pre-industrial golden age as an idea, anti-scrap ideology as a concept, and there is the, so you have a lot of I don't know where the passage is going now, what the author wants to discuss, I really don't know. So in the first sentence, I'm going to leave it. They're saying that okay, there is certain phrase where a certain gentleman called William called something. That's it. Anything else you want to take it from me? I don't think so. Do you think so? I don't think so, because I don't know too many things. Okay, let's probably when we read this once again, and maybe we'll understand the context of it. We'll have to keep that in mind. Okay. In Britain, folk. Okay, now we have a discussion on this, which is folk. Obviously, in the passage, the title of the paragraph, in the exam, the title of the passage is not given. We'll understand it's about folk once we read it. So you see that folk is there everywhere. That's a repetition of ideas. So that's the whole concept. In Britain, the folk may often appear. Okay, so one more word that I want to look at, may often appear, which means it is not in reality, but that's how it is. May often appear a cozy fossilized form, but when we look more closely, the idea of folk who has the right to sing it, dance it, invoke it, collect it, belong to it, appropriated it for political culture, and has always been contested territory. So now I think that this has been used as an analogy, an analogy, I don't know how we pronounce that. He's saying that this particular gentleman called a particular phrase as uh, a vision of the pre-industrial golden age, and then you have a folk song which also can appear very cozy and fossilized or old form, but actually it is very contested territory. So my takeaway from here is that what the author wants to tell me is about folk is actually being contested territory. The only thing that I'm going to probably take away from here, which I'm going to write in this, folk in Britain, I think that is a context that's important. It's not across the world. The whole thing is about Britain, and folk in Britain is a contested territory. Okay, I think that's good enough. If a question forces us to come back and look at this file, I think that's understand that, yeah, it is contested territory. Okay, and then obviously three dots. I think we got to miss a lot of things. The passage is going to jump to something. Okay, we'll have to be very careful there. In our own time, okay, now we're talking about what is in the current time. So that's what the author wants, what the context is now in the current time. Though the folk has achieved the rare distinction of occupying fashionable and unfashionable status simultaneously. Good. We have a red line, ladies and gentlemen. Folk has read occupying fashionable and unfashionable status simultaneously. Okay, good. I think that is an important thing that we want to say. And I think the rest of the thing would be probably explaining that particular idea as to why the folk is like that. Just as the effusive flora prince of the radical William Morris, the guy, I think that the same guy was mentioned there, hero, radical William Morris now covered genteel sofas. So the revolutionary intentions of many folk historians and revivals have led to music that is commonly regarded as parochial and conservative. uh, what just happened? Okay. So basically, what he's saying here, I understand something that was something had somebody had a revolutionary intention when they created something, but it's currently thought of as conservative. The people when they created it was revolutionary, but currently they are thinking it is conservative, normal, something like that. But I think we'll not worry too much about that particular sentence. And yet, okay, so these are all these important things. And yet, as newspaper columns periodically rejoice, folk is hip again, influencing artists, clothing, and furniture, designers, celebrated music festival, award ceremonies, and on TV, reissued on countless record label. Folk is a sonic, shabby chic containing elements of the uncanny, eerie, as well as antique veneer, a whiff of Britain's heathen dark ages. The very obscurity and anonymity of folk music origin open up space for rampant imaginative fancies. Oh, this is one paragraph you almost going, what is this you are telling me, author? What is this? Why can't you speak to me like a normal human being? I can understand why you have to use all these things like a shabby chick and veneer and eerie and I don't know what else is being used. Uh, so what is this? Parochial and my goodness, this is like, come on. But I think for our understanding, ladies and gentlemen, what we'll just do is to try and look at what are the key things that I can understand from this passage. You can tell me whether you pick the same thing here. What I'm thinking of picking here, ladies and gentlemen, is this thing which is like achieving the rare distinction occupying fashionable and unfashionable. The folk is, oops, let me take wide. Folk has got both fashionable and plus together unfashionable as well, something that is not fashionable. That's what that is being mentioned there. Okay. And then the folk is hip again, so now it is now hip again, so now it is now it is kind of say hip. Folk has become hip again, and the very obscurity of anonymity of folk, that is one thing. Folk is being hip again, and anonymity of folk music origins open up space of rampant imaginative fancies. All that, people are doing a lot of imagination from here. People are like, oops, look at folk and think about load of things. One person is thinking something, another person is thinking something else. This is what probably what is going through my mind. But I think so far what we can understand is the fact that from the first paragraph, folk is a contested territory. It is both fashionable and unfashionable. Currently people say that it's very hip. Okay, it's kind of popular now. uh, but I think that, but there are a lot of imaginative fancies about folk, about this folk music, so to speak. Let's move on to the next paragraph. Cecil Sharp, another person now, my God, who wrote about this subject, believed that folk songs existed in constant transformation. Okay, good. That is good one. Okay, that is keep on changing, constant transformation. Probably that is linked to the whole idea of rampant imaginative fancies because people don't know the origin. So it's like constant transformation. It keeps changing, living example of art form in a perpetual state of renewal. And I think that these are all examples that is given to justify the whole thing. That's what you can see here. I'm probably thinking that all these are examples justifying that particular statement. We say that the folk has got constant transformation. We will come back and check those stuff. If a question forces us to come back, we'll come back here. But maybe we give it a read. It says one man sings a song, and then the others sing it after him, changing what they do not like. Oh, it is the most concise summary of his conclusions on its origin. Cecil is a man. Okay, Cecil. Okay, very good. Okay, sorry about that. He compared each rendition of a ballad to a acorn falling from an oak tree. Every subsequent iteration shows the song anew, but there is tension in the newness. In the late 1960s, purists were suspicious of folk songs recast in rock idioms. Electrification, however, comes in many forms. Electrification. What a word. Okay. For the early 20th century composers such as Vaughan Williams and Holst, there were thunderbolts of inspiration from Oriental mysticism, angular modernism, and the body blow of the First World War, as well as input from rediscovered folk tradition itself. So that's not bad. I think we can understand at least from here that basically what is saying that the folk has had lot of transformation, has transformation. It is in a constant change. Start from something, it will get changed to something else. Let's put another color from, and then again got changed to something else. And they say so to this one, and again it change got something else, and it keeps on evolving and changing. Some people does not like it. The purist were suspicious, they don't like it. Some people okay, but stick it, that is just changing. So they listen to a song, keep changing it, and so on and so forth. That sounds like every time we read this passage, probably your understanding keep changing every time. What a passage, man. But we are in the last paragraph. For the second wave of folk revivals, okay, we have, what about the first wave, by the way? I don't know. Okay, second wave at least. Folk revivals such as Yvonne McCall and Al Lloyd, A. Lloyd or Al Lloyd. AL? I don't know. Starting in the 40s, the vital spark was communism's dream of a post revolutionary New Jerusalem. For the younger successors in the 60s, who thronged the flow clubs, set up the old guard, the lyrical freedom of Dylan, and the unchained melody of a psychedelia created the condition for folk rock's own golden age, a brief Indian summer that lasted about 1969. So they are basically saying that whatever the transformation that we talked here, whatever the transformation thought here, the inspirations are different, right? So there can be inspiration one, this is another transformation is like inspiration two. So one was because of communism, then it was because of the lyrical freedom that it had, and then something is missing there. Okay, four decades on, which is probably today, 4 decades on, like 40 20 now. Okay, even that progressive period has become just one more era ripe of fashionable minimalism and pastichal or pastime. Okay, okay. Ignore the word. I okay. Fashionable emulation. Emulate karna. Fashionable emulation. The idea, the the idea of folk tradition being exclusively confined to oral transmission has become a much looser, less severely guarded concept. Recorded music and television for today's metro generation are where the equivalent for memories are seated. So now you're saying that where I think that how things have changed. Okay, he's saying that given the historical perspective, so to speak, from in terms of how the inspiration has changed. Earlier it was oral transmission. Now it is also now today we have recorded label music and doing a lot of things. So I think that when you finish the passage here, maybe it might be a good idea to check what just happened in this whole passage. So let's do this. Actually, let's actually get this down, push it up. Okay, and try and see what just went here. Okay, just to get an understanding of this, I think this is my takeaway. So we have the first conversation is by starting that I'm understanding in my head what I'm seeing, that the first conversation is that folk is a contested territory. Let's think of that as two people fighting, not necessarily. Okay, that is what folk is. Okay, and then what has happened, and then the second paragraph talks about the fact that folk is something that is very fashionable, very popular, or also folk is something that is not very popular. How do I write something that is not very popular? I have no idea. Why did I decide to do this? Let's that break that thing there. Okay, that's what up. Jijo, don't do this. Okay, ting ting ting. Okay, not very popular. ब्रेक हो गया उसको. Okay, that is what is being said. Not popular. This happens together is what is mentioned in this particular paragraph. And then the author talks about the fact that there are a lot of transformation that happens to folk song, which is like it started with something, then it moves to something else, and then moves to something else, and people create their own ways and means in terms of how the folk song has changed over a period of time. So you can think of the folk song being changed to changes. And the next thing is that whatever the change that has happened, whatever this paragraph is talking about, the fact that whatever the change that has happened, the change, ladies and gentlemen, is has got certain inspiration, and the inspirations are different. So the first change is something else. The second change is something else. The third change is something else. So it has got different inspiration. For those changes, different inspiration for the changes, and initially also mentioned that people used to speak to another one. So now it is used as recorded labels and music and television. So television and everything has created into the chain that has happened. That is from today. That's my understanding. This is tough. And I absolutely don't remember a lot of things that is actually mentioned when I first read this passage, by the way. I did not take the slot one, by the way. But when I saw this passage, I was like, my God. This was tough. And I was just hoping after hope that I will look at the question and hope that this is good enough to answer. And in my mind, I was always going that, okay, if the passage is so kind of difficult, I think the question setter will create a question which is probably very easy to pick. And that was a huge disappointment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at this. Okay. The author says that the folk may often appear a cozy fossilized, and this is a specific case that is answer a question that is may often appear so because so you're asking the reason here, right? It's like the folk uh, may appear. So this is like a may appear as something which is fossilized and may appear fossilized. And we also know that author corrected that. Okay, whenever there's a correction of that correction of that misconception, so it's like a may appear is something correction already done, which is said always being contested territory, something that author is corrected. The author is not asking us what is a correction. Author is asking us the reason as to why is it that it may appear fossilized, why is it that it may appear very old. That's what the author is saying. So that's something that you need to understand. I just understand the reason as to why it appears fossilized form. And when you actually look at here, you can get that the folk may often appear in the fossilized form. So what we have to look at, your answer would be right there somewhere. Okay, in Britain, it's right there somewhere. The whole thing is about a discussion specific to paragraph number one, right? This was a discussion specific to paragraph number one. The answer would be something that is specific to paragraph. Why do you think it is fossilized? And that is where you can see this whole idea there, because of this idea of what is a pre-industrialized golden age. Something is a pre-industrialized golden age, and that is why it is idealized. I think one of the probably so this is actually mentioned here in answer choice number one, which is of his nostalgic association with the pre-industrialized past. And that is why it may appear in a fossilized form. And let's look at other answer choices and why it is hard and why the question setter is a very, very the question setter is here. Let me put the our question setter. I'm gonna call him this person. He want to trap us. Let's look at answer choice number two. It has been arrogated to various political and cultural purposes. Political, this is okay, very good. This is kind of an alien idea of whether it is political or cultural purposes, not mentioned anywhere. At least for sure the politics is not mentioned somewhere in this, at least in this first paragraph. I don't see anything that is political. And I think then political and cultural purposes. I think this is probably trying to trap us in terms of the whole thing called anti-capitalist and a twisted version of that. That is not the answer. Focus is Sony shabby chick with antique vinyl. This is the malaf somewhere else. Anna. I don't know where. This is like the question setter is trapping all the lazy readers here. I don't know how many of you are lazy, sleeping and answering the question. Okay, you see that is something that is mentioned somewhere else. The fact that folk is a Sony shabby chick with antique veneer uh, is not the reason as why it's appeared fossilized form. The notion that folk has led to several so okay, now this is the notion that folk has led to several debates and disagreement is something that is actually picked from this particular part. The questions that are picked that from this particular part of contested territory. The contested territory is here. That is a correction. It is may appear fossilized. It's actually not fossilized. It is contested. In the sense, the author is saying the contested territory in the sense that it's not something that is old. Folk is not something that is old. There are quite a few changes have happened in the folk, but the author discusses later on. There are quite a few changes that you cannot actually look at folk song and say that this is the fossilized form. It's an old form. No, a lot of transformation has happened. That is a correction that the author will make eventually. But the question is asking specifically about why is it that it appears in a fossilized form? Why is it may appear in a fossilized form? What is the reason? So it is a nostalgia association. That's the issue. And the second problem with this option is about several debates and disagreement. I don't think that contested territory in the sense that it's people having debates about it is also something that is alien to the whole discussion. So this is alien to the discussion. This is not mentioned here, which also very clearly says an answer choice in this case is one. This was an okay question. I'm sure this was easy to pick. You can see the answer right there in that question, very specific. I'm going to call these kind of questions a very closed question. When I say a closed question, in the sense that a closed question is asking you something that is specific to certain part of the paragraph, very close. An open question kind of asks across the whole thing. That's a very closed question. Let's look at number two. Oh my goodness. All of the following are causes of plurality and diversity within British folk, except what? Except, okay. Now, this question is asking, are causes for the diversity. So, there are certain diversity that happens in the British form. All the changes happen. We also already in our mind thought about the changes one to the second one, to the third one, to the fourth one, to the fifth one. Why is God all these changes? Now the question is not asking specifically, and this is very very important, of the causes of these changes. What led to this? What is the factor that kind of led to this thing? Is what the question is actually asking. What is the cause of it? Okay, what is the reason as to why it eventually became very diverse? Okay, and let's start with the fluidity of folk forms owing to their oral mode of transmission. That's good, which is fine. One person is speaking to other one, other person is speaking. There is a lot of fluidity in that. This is good. This is good. This is the cause. This is one cause. Okay, this is one cause. We have to look at things that is except. So that obviously this is eliminated. Okay, because it is a cause. Paradoxically, folk forms are both popular and unpopular. Okay, now we have an issue with this. So there are a couple of issues that you might start thinking. First of all, is the word popular and unpopular good word? What is mentioned here is that has achieved the rare distinction occupying fashionable and unfashionable. But if you actually think about what do you mean by fashionable, what do you actually think about something that is fashionable? Fashionable is something that is popular in that contemporary realm. So in one sense, that I can say that okay, why when I say an idea is fashionable, it's because idea is popular, right? So there is no problem with the use of word popular. The issue that you might have with this particular word is that we are looking at the reason as to why we reached here. Paradoxically, forms are both popular, has achieved the rare distinction of it being popular and unpopular, or fashionable unpopular. Is it because of that? Is it the cause? Is it the cause, or is it the effect? Something that is being very diverse, because that is diverse, uska effect hoga na yaar. It's the effect of that. And that's the problem with that particular answer choice. We say that this the diversity tha, the effect of the diversity is the effect of the diversity would be something that is fashionable, both fashionable and unfashionable. But the question is not asking about after the plurality and the diversity caused uh, created what. The question is what started here. Okay, what is the cause? But you are looking at what is the cause of this particular thing, which is why that particular answer choice is a question mark there. Okay, the British folk forms can be traced to remote part of the country. To the remote parts of the country, can be traced to remote parts of the country, which is fine because it can be traced to the worst part of the country, and that's why those changes happened. uh, and which is why you can see that plurality is there. So that's fair. That's fair. That is fair. This one is fair, ladies and gentlemen. And we can obviously say that this is for sure the wrong answer choice. But if we have traces to pagan influence in the dark from the dark ages, pagan influence, dark ages. Okay, dark ages mentioned heathen dark ages. Okay, you're looking at folk as a sonic shabby contain elements of uncanny area as well as antique veneer, a whiff of Britain's heathen dark ages. Dark ages. You might want to check what is the meaning of heathen. Let me just quickly have a look at that. I don't think that has got anything to do with uh, dark ages. A person who does not belong to a widely held religion. My goodness. Especially one is not a Christian, Jew, or a Muslim. What that is heathen? Someone who behaves as if they are not educated. An unconverted member of a people nation who does not acknowledge God. Okay, heathen dark ages is about heathen dark ages actually about heathen in this case is someone who does not acknowledge God. Pagan influence would mean that that is a religious influence. You're saying that how is this a problem? Now you're saying that I have eliminated these two options. And then it said this is not an effect. But this is not mentioned at all. And incidentally, this is one question that I think was a bad question setting. I think very bad question setting. The answer that was given is answer choice number four as the right. Sorry, answer choice number two was the right answer choice. Answer choice number two was the right answer choice, which means answer choice number four, according to the question setter, what is actually a cause? And I can't see pagan, I can't see religious influence. Can you see anywhere? I never saw religious influence from anywhere. I see communism. I did not see pagan influence that is there. Maybe here you talk about Oriental, inspired Oriental mysticism, uh, but pagan. So this is a painful question in the sense. Okay, so it is impossible. I think in the exam setting, I think it's very sure that you will see popular unpopular that is actually mentioned, and this pagan is not mentioned. You'll probably mark for answer choice number four, and I don't blame you for it. And this thing that you would understand is in this particular question is this. So that particular paragraph, which is what in our own time the world folk, this one in our own time, this is original source, right? So in our own time this is original article. In our own times this was this folk, and then immediately started from here. That is the three dots, and they kind of chuck this particular part from here, and once that is there, there is another three four dots, and obviously they chuck this part from here as well, and the story moved to the next paragraph talking about the Cecil Sharp story. And when you look at this part of the paragraph, which the questions that are actually cut out from the whole passage, there you can see this pagan. There, there, there. On the thing that you cut, question setter, this is not a, you didn't put it here. Yeah, you did not put it, and then you're expecting us to understand where is pagan. I think that this should be a question which should be eliminated. Question two, bad question, should be eliminated according to me. I think the problem that will happen at this point in time is that now you start thinking. So for example, I cannot be a person who will say that forcefully come and tell you that there is some logic and reason as to why this is a wrong answer choice. I can understand probably why. I can understand probably why. If there is a reason, that would be this. This is probably not the cause of it. Folk being popular, unpopular did not create plural diversity. I can see that for British folk forms traced in the remote past, that would have created, because it is very old, and that created a lot of diversity because of this. The fluidity of form created diversity in one case, but this did not create diversity. But you cannot tell me that pagan influence is answer choice when you made the silly mistake of not picking that. Come on, question setter, bad question. I hope I'm making sense here. So it's okay to get that one wrong. That's all I'm saying. At a conference on folk forms, the author of the passage is least likely to agree with which one of the following views. So I'm saying that I look at the view and views of the author being similar to this. If I look at, we'll not get exact stuff, at least what the author feels, what the author has told us about folk song, and we'll keep this thing in mind. Where is that thing that we wrote here? Okay, we'll keep this in mind. This is what the author has told us. We'll keep that in mind. Anything that is contradictory to that is what we'll pick there. Let's start, ladies and gentlemen. The power of folk resides in its contradictory ability to influence and be influenced by the present while remaining rooted in the past. Okay. Okay, so author said reside in the contradictory ability to influence and be influenced by the present while remaining rooted in the past, which is okay, which is okay, which is okay. I think that's fine. That's kind of looking at saying that this is all transformation that has happened, but is still remaining rooted in the past. This is okay. I don't see a reason as to why the author would disagree with that. Okay, I don't know whether author will definitely agree with it. We are looking at the scale that is going here. What? How do I put this? Absolutely disagree. Which is like no, absolute yes, and then you have got load of the scale, and you want to pick it very close to this guy. So even saying the definite no. So this is a definite no. That's definite yes, and there are all the scales that I want to pick. I think probably I don't see a reason as to why author should disagree with that particular statement. Okay, number two. Folk form, despite their archaic origin. Okay, okay, we have this word despite. Okay, archaic origin remain intellectually relevant in contemporary time. Intellectually relevant. So, okay, that basically saying that author has got a positive attitude towards a folk form, which is something that we can judge, right? The tone is like, ठीक है, गाली वाली नहीं दिया, folk forms को अच्छा है, it is good. So I don't see a reason why the author would disagree. Folk form is an ability to constantly adapt to the changing world, exhibit an unusual poise and homogeneity in each change. Oh my goodness, I think there is a problem. Homogeneity with each change means each of the change is exactly the same, which means whatever is a movement that happened, ladies and gentlemen, from this change to this change is equal to this change is equal to this change. That is obviously something that the author will disagree. I'm sure that that is something that is for sure, ladies and gentlemen, which is going to push the scale. Where is it? Push the scale this side. I think that 3 is a strong conductor as an answer. So okay, let me pick this color. This would be a strong conductor. This is going to be, oops, which color? Green, man. And this is going to be right there, ladies and gentlemen. For the plurality and democratic impulse of folk forms emanate from the improvisation. That is, yeah, this is ekdam okay. Improvisation that the practitioner bring about. So practice bring about the changes. This is very positive. The power of flow, that is also positive. So that's also fine. Contradictory ability to influence and be influenced. There are contradictory stuff. It both it goes both ways, which is fine. That is mentioned, but this is being homogeneity is definitely a problem. Number four, the primary purpose of the reference of William Morris and his floral print. William Morris and the floral print is just right here, ladies and gentlemen, just the effusive floral prints of the radical William Morris. Now it is where you probably will have to go back and say, in the first time I read, I never understood that sentence. Now the question setter, our devil here wants us to pick the worst thing about the whole past. You could have picked anything else. Why did you choose that bloody? ठीक है, we can't. You are a good person. Eventually, you probably will be my teacher in IM. So you're a good man or a good lady. Sorry, you're awesome. You created amazing question. I must tell you that. Maybe slightly a small mistake in the previous one, but okay, okay, okay. So I'm not saying anything bad about you. Okay. Just if you see floral prints of the radical now, okay. Primer, why did the author think? The author actually wanted to talk about the fact that it was unfashionable, fashionable and unfashionable status simultaneously. Okay, that's what the author wants to say. William Long now. Just as okay, so probably that part, right? That makes sense. So, the revolutionary intentions of many folk historians and revivalists have led to music that is commonly regarded as parochial and conservative. What was once revolutionary is now regarded as conservative. So, these effusive floral prints of William Morris now called genteel sofas. Effusive, that's a vibrant, amazing sound. It's like now genteel sofas. So, what is one was revolutionary and now being conservative. So something has changed. So basically, what he's saying that when you look at the folk song, when you look at the changes, you look at the things now and look at the past. This is you're saying that it probably would have been revolutionary when that was created, but now it is not the case. For example, you say that the first mobile phone is a revolutionary idea. You look at the mobile phone, conservative phone. What is there? Only one camera. Cha, cha, cha. What kind of phone is that? I have three. Why do you need three? Because I don't know. Three photographs together. Anyways, focus. Your focus on the question, please. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, the pervasive influence of folk on contemporary art, culture, and fashion. Pervasive. That is a bad word. First of all, pervasive in influence of folk on contemporary art, fashion. That what is once regarded as radical in folk can later be seen as conforming. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what it is. I think that we got that one pretty clear. This is good. That which was once derided as genteel is now revolutionary. Ulta, opposite. Once gentle, now revolutionary. I think the direction is wrong. Look at the question setter. Look at the hero. I'm from now on calling you hero. Good hero is like a good hero, good good devil. You've created awesome answer choices here. Basically saying that from revolutionary it has become conservative, or this is like ulta. It was once there gentle, once that was gentle, now is revolutionary. No, 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 no. That despite his archaic origin, folk continues to remain popular tradition. Despite his archaic origin, folk continues to remain popular. Why it should be popular? It is both fashionable and unfashionable status simultaneously. Why are you picking just one? Does any man not dance joy? I'm just looking at all the four, but I think that this is very clear, ladies and gentlemen. Answer choice is number two. Let's look at five. Which of the following statement about folk revivalism 1940s and 60s cannot be inferred from the passage. Okay, cannot be. We are looking at last paragraph, ladies and gentlemen. We'll probably pick that one up and look at what is mentioned there. Okay, let's start. Okay. Freedom and rebellion were popular themes during the second wave of folk revivalism. Yeah, second wave, communist dream, revolutionary. Yeah, good, revolutionary Jerusalem. That is okay. That is okay. Popular theme in the second wave. Okay, that's okay. Freedom, huh? In the lyrical freedom. Okay, that's good. That is good. This is good, ladies and gentlemen. This is good. Electrification of music would not have happened without the influence. Oh, extreme. Without this, like this was necessary. Without the influence of this, electrification of music would not have happened. Extreme, ladies and gentlemen, extreme position immediately cannot be inferred. That will be the answer. We have to look at what cannot be inferred. Therefore, that will be the answer. Clean. Electrification. Where is that electrification? Where is electrification? Where was electrification? Which paragraph was it? Was here. Somewhere else. Electrification, however, comes in many forms. This is 1940s and 60s. Okay, 1960s. Okay, sorry. This form, electrification, however, comes in many forms. What is electrification got to do with rock music? Come in many form, yeah. Come on, this is wrong. Even though it led to folk rock's golden age, it wasn't entirely free from critique, which is I think and not entirely free from critique because there are these purists in 1960s who attack suspicious about folk. So there were some critics. They were suspicious. That is okay. That is okay. That is okay. That is good. It reinforced Cecil Sharp observation about folks' constant transformation. See, so fair enough. There was constant transformation that has happened here, which is okay. Which is okay. That's okay. This is good, ladies and gentlemen. Number two. So in this particular passage, I think that those were the challenges. I think the question setter actually uh, got. I think there was one question which I have serious doubt should not have been framed by using the word pagan. That's what I believe. You may have a different opinion. Let me know. But I think that's the whole story. That is that in this particular passage what you should have done is that we will go with the same understanding that we did in the last time. We'll go with the same kind of understanding of the passage. We look at the question, and probably what is going to happen is that out of this five you end up maybe skipping about a couple of them, saying that that is not very difficult. Maybe solving about three out of these five correct should be a good thing here. I hope this makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. If you need more, please feel free to tell me. Put on the comment box. I've got a lot of requests on a lot of things. I'm trying to keep up with that. Hopefully, I'll be able to do something. Thank you for all your support, ladies and gentlemen. And please share, like, subscribe, what else? And have fun. And all the best for your preparation. Goodbye.